so without much ado, let's go into the conversation already. And we're starting with the Pope calling for a ban on surrogacy. Now, Pope Francis, in his New Year's address to diplomats at the Vatican on Monday this week, has called for a universal ban on surrogacy, saying the practice of a woman carrying another person's child is deplorable. The Pope said surrogate motherhood represents a grave violation of the mother and the child, and urged the international community to prohibit the practice immediately. Now, according to the Pope, the path to peace calls for respect for life. And this begins with the life of an unborn child in the mother's womb, who cannot be suppressed or turned into an object of trafficking. In this regard, the deplorable practice of so-called surrogate motherhood is based on the exploitation of situations of the mother's material needs. Now, a child, according to the Pope, is always a gift and never the basis of a commercial contract. Consequently, the Pope expresses hope for an effort by the international community to prohibit this practice universally. All right, so in case you're watching and you don't know what surrogacy means, it's a process in which a woman carries and delivers a child for a couple or an individual. All right, usually surrogate mothers are impregnated through the use of IVFs, that's the in vitro fertilization, and typically a legal contract, you know, is required. All right, and that is to safeguard the intending couple, you know, and also the mother who is carrying the child. So that's what it's basically a woman carrying a child for another person. That's what surrogacy is. And the Pope is saying this is the violation of a right, of the dignity of the mother and the child in question. Ms. Ogbu, let me begin with you. What are your thoughts on surrogacy? And also, what are your thoughts on this call by the Pope for surrogacy to be banned?
Surrogacy is not, in my own opinion, it's nothing bad. Because I know of a family friend who she's highly diabetic, and it's medically obvious she can't carry pregnancy. So she resorted to surrogacy. The woman who is the surrogate mother has nothing to contribute to that child. She can't even transfer DNA. So her egg and the sperm from the husband is what is collected and then implanted into the surrogate mother. She's just a carrier. So if the Pope is saying there should be a ban, maybe he should have said within the Catholic setting. Because I tend to be a bit confused. If you're banning surrogacy because you felt they're exploiting women, or he calls it a womb for rent, or because you are commercializing it, it's not even something cheap that everybody can afford. Do. So, the same setting, they believe in baptizing the child that comes from surrogacy with same-sex parents. So, calling the whole world to ban surrogacy, to me, I don't think is feasible. Because what happens to the woman who medically cannot carry a pregnancy?
Because there are such women, they do exist.
Of course, a lot of them. And I've seen a case where even after the surrogacy, she was able to conceive. So it's just to help a condition. You don't ban it. If you have an issue happening, maybe there are cases where within the sex, some people are beginning to organize having babies outside celibacy. You can have something like that, but not throwing it to the open and say you should ban it. What happens to the fate of women who cannot carry pregnancy for themselves? So I don't think. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ogbu. All right, Apostle Grace, permit me to skip you. I'll come back for the religious perspective on this. But let me come to Becky. What do you think about this ban on surrogacy?
Let me tell the line, and I like the way you explained surrogacy, and you know, I was reading further on that. And I discovered that there are two types of surrogacy to back up what she just said. Gestational surrogacy and then there's traditional surrogacy.
Okay. Please explain.
Yeah, so the gestational surrogacy was what she explained, where the egg of the woman
and the sperm of the man.
The husband. So the surrogate has nothing
to contribute.
So, but the traditional surrogacy is where the egg of the surrogate mother is used. But I don't think that is common. You know, so this kind of a two. But the one that is common is the one she does, and I don't think there is anything wrong in someone doing that. You know, so I was having a discussion with someone before now about we're having a discussion about this thing, and you know, maybe I don't know, maybe Apostle will help us. So she was talking about, is it found in the Bible? And someone says, Abraham and Hagar. So, even
that wasn't surrogacy.
You know when I now read that traditional surrogacy, it could be.
Yeah, that's a traditional kind of surrogacy.
Because that was what Sarah had in mind.
Yeah.
Sarah bear a child.
Yes.
For her. Yes. So her child will become ours.
Egg that was used. Whoa, so that could be under a traditional surrogacy. So because we argued that, and that was how I got to know this kind of surrogacy. So I don't think there's an issue with that. It's just like, you know, when this thing used to happen, if you didn't have a normal birth, you're not a mother.
Let me quickly interject at this point and ask a question that's coming to my head. All right. So I'm not taking sides with you. I'm not taking sides with the Pope. But I'm trying to understand this from the perspective of the religious leader, who is taking into consideration, perhaps, the feelings of the woman who's carrying the child. When you carry a child inside of you, chances are you form a bond. Do you get what I mean?
You know what you are going into.
I know that. But there's been stories of surrogate mothers who backtrack on the agreement.
For every project,
they go back on the agreement. All right. So how do you look at from that angle? You know, where feelings are now, emotions are now involved, as against just the contract.
Yes. When feelings are involved, see, for everything good, you will see the abuse of it.
That is the truth.
You will see the abuse of it. We have people who really were pregnant by themselves and they didn't have any connection with that child. That's why we have orphans. We have you know, abandoned children. So why would you give birth and go and throw your child somewhere for someone to take care of you? So it's not all, but when we have such cases, these are things you should deal with. Not to ban
it outrightly.
Okay. You should deal with these things.
One of the things they do, most surrogate mothers don't know who they are carrying for.
There's a whole lot of secrecy.
Helps to find the surrogate mother. Agreement is reached. The contract is signed. Payment is made, and then the medical process begins.
And when the child is born,
and then like
they don't allow the.
Let her learn. I'll come to you.
As soon as about 2 weeks to the delivery of the child, the mother was admitted into the hospital in a separate ward, and then she wasn't prepared to lactate because she's going to have a baby. And so once the child is born, they drop the child on the chest of the owner of the baby. And then the woman is up. In fact, I ran into a woman last year. She said she came back from Abuja. Her younger sister had a surrogate mother based in Abuja. So she went to receive the child. Not even she doesn't know the person. It's the hospital that detailed the nurse that brought the child to where she will receive and all that.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so Apostle Grace, let's come from a religious perspective. Okay. How does the Bible, the Holy Book, how does it view this issue of surrogacy?
The issue of surrogacy, my own understanding and the scripturally, it is not bad. Coming to the decision or what the suggestion of the Pope to bind it, if the Pope can tell the Catholic stuff that there should be blessing marriage between the same sex. So, and he didn't see anything wrong in that. And when you look at it biblically, it is wrong. The Lord created man and woman. Male and female. Not man and man or woman and woman. So the issue of surrogacy that we are discussing, according to what the Pope is saying, to me, it does not really, it doesn't make any sense.
Is there any scripture that backs it, or that what was the, borrow me English, Dr.
We can actually look at it. We can actually look at it as a kind of adoption. You understand me? Adoption. If you want to look at it in that side, because all of us as Christians, we are all adopted.
True.
So the surrogate mother shouldn't have any reason to regret what she She did, because before she go into it, she might have been enlightened. Do you get my point? So she knows what she wants to do, and there is agreement that she will sign. So being emotional about it should not even come into that. Then the real owner of the mother is the biological mother of the
child.
Not yes,
The one to receive the child. Oh, yeah.
Receiving the child.
Yeah.
Listen, this is another way that God is also using to is a knowledge that came from men, but God give every knowledge that man receive, maybe by learning, to help other people. Like you said, there are some women that they are really want to, but their heads has failed them. They cannot be able to carry or nurture a baby. So in this aspect, in this area, they can be able to have the child and give that child a proper training. That child has nothing to lose, because what you are talking about now is not something that is cheap, that you can go to the street and see anyhow. So before you see somebody that will take such decision, the person is capable. It is not a, you are not taking a baby for ritual or to do anything. You get you get my point. It is for your own good, for your own benefit, and for peace to reign in your home, instead of the man to be moving up and down, looking for gears and causing troubles in the home. So both the couple can sit together and go in for this, and their peace, marriage,
because that is actually their child.
Yeah.
It is
it's actually their child, but the other
woman,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
There are other instances where a single woman, she's advanced, she's not married, and she wants to.
But she wants a child.
She wants a child. So what she did was she donated her egg, and she got donors. You know, we have sperm donors.
Okay, yeah, we have.
Donors. That is where, if you see the definition of surrogacy, you carry and deliver a child for a couple
or an individual.
So an individual who is not married can say, okay, I want a child, and I just go to the hospital, get a donor, which is from the sperm donor, to fertilize her egg, and she has a baby. That's another aspect to it. That's where individual. But this is your own. The most interesting aspect is the surrogate mother cannot even transfer DNA
to the
child. The only issue is the emotional.
Okay, I get that. But
and this is why they are cutting the woman not to see the child.
Can I play the
And if you look at this one, surrogacy is better than adoption, because the baby you are adopting, the baby you are adopting does not have any doesn't have any connection. You get with you.
No DNA with you.
No, at all. But at the end of the day, you see them living happily with this child, training this child to their tests.
They grow to love the child.
Yes, they even.
But then, isn't there
a
selfish angle to all of this, though? I'm just asking where the other person is just cut off entirely from the life of the child. In the case you just described of an individual who's not married but just wants a child, then you get a man to donate sperm, and then you have your child, and then that man is cut off from the life of that baby, even though he does share a bit of a DNA with that child. And the child, that's what I'm saying. Isn't it a bit selfish, though, that you are denying that child the opportunity of ever knowing the other side, the other part of him? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Isn't it a bit selfish?
See, like I said, to every good invention
has bad.
You see the abuse of it. Yeah. Now, so the case she gave, a single lady who goes to take a sperm from donor, she might not even know who the sperm
doesn't even know the man.
So the man also who donated his sperm is paid.
I know.
They're paid.
Yeah.
So he too might not even know who's going to get the sperm.
Isn't that the commercial thing that the Pope is talking about? Is that trafficking in some sense?
That's why I said these excesses are what should be looked into.
The excesses, not the actual ban of the suit. Okay.
Exactly.
Because these are all the things the Pope is actually talking about, where the process of bringing forth a child to the world is now being commercialized, and people think they can make money off of it. I'm a man, I feel like I can, just pour out and just sell it and all that. Then it becomes a business.
On a lighter mood.
But it's a business to some people, and also a way of assistance to another person.
Okay.
And they sought for surrogacy. She's single. And then the guy who, the hospital where the guy works, he's into porn, you know. So he prepares the couple, the man who's going to donate his sperm in the hospital, he prepares them. So somehow they get them into watching pornography to help them come and release the spermatozoa they will collect into the lab. So somehow he went into that because of his porn, and he released his own. It was his own that he took to the lab. So the woman took that, not knowing from where it came. Only for the child and another child of the donor to be in the same school and became best of friends.
Whoa.
And then they keep looking like twins.
Oh.
How come you look like me?
Because they have the same father.
So that was how they now traced it and went back to the hospital. He now said, actually, this happened, and he replaced his spermatozoa with the one he's supposed to submit in the lab.
Oh.
Do you understand? So, but such chances are very slim.
Yeah. Sorry, I also want to add quickly. One of the issues or the negative side of these things, I've read about even some ladies who volunteer for surrogacy. That there's a limit to what you can even yeah, you know how you can. I think they have some of these limitations in their legal terms. Some of them also abuse such things, you know, and the health issue. All these things might be one of those things that the Pope was referring to. But like I insist, it shouldn't be an outright, because it has, for everything that has a good side,
has a bad side.
So you look at the cons of this project, this invention, and handle it instead of eradicating it totally. But all being said, it's just a call, so it's not necessarily that to be
and I think it's just calling more attention to this issue of surrogacy, which is why we are discussing it at the table today, and I'm sure it's a topic of discourse across board, all right, and people will lend their own views and perspectives to this issue of surrogacy. At the end of the day, we might actually proffer solutions to you know, some of the issues arising from all of this, because like we said from the beginning, there are women who have fertility challenges. There are women who cannot actually have carry their own babies in their own wombs because they have some medical conditions. Some women have fibroids that might make them unable to carry children. Some women have blocked fallopian tubes. Some women, they have pelvic infections over the years that could have, you know, become something else and damage their wombs to the point where they cannot actually carry a child. Endometriosis is a very common thing with ladies, and women who have that, you know, sometimes have challenges having their own. Infertility issues are quite many, and I think, like Apostle Grace was trying to mention, all these ideas that comes from God, and then people work on it to proffer solutions to people's problems, cannot all be bad, all right? Because technology is here to improve our lives anyways. The whole IVF concept, I mean, today has put a smile on the faces of a lot of people. A lot of people whom, you know, gone are the days where you say somebody waited 50 years didn't have a child. Like, there are options now. Options. And let's not forget, adoption is still a very good option. There are a lot of abandoned children who are just looking for love, all right? So if you can't afford surrogacy, why don't you adopt a child? Adopt a child today, and you might just be saving someone's life, all right?